Lights out. BEC workers say overtime is over. Find out what this could mean for you.
Missing men. The relatives of two Turkish men reportedly missing took their story to the Prime Minister this morning.
And Baptists worldwide hold their midwinter level meeting in the Bahamas. The National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This segment of the news is brought to you by BTC, powered by Lime.
BEC workers say overtime stops immediately. Good night, everyone. I'm Candino Knowles.
I'm Keishla Adderley. Thanks for joining us. Observers are monitoring the fallout which may come following BEC workers' defiant stance. Fern Carey tells us tonight that the workers, angered by BEC Chairman Leslie Miller's restrictions on overtime and a plan to implement a shift system, are making their position clear.
Members of the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union advised the government that effective immediately, BEC employees throughout the country will not be working any more overtime.
We will not work any overtime, seeing that overtime is an issue. We have sent directive from Bimini to the north, to Nago and Cricket Island to the south, that no employee is to work any overtime. So when the light turn off in the night, expect the light to stay off in the night, or call the chairman. Tell him come and get the bucket truck, and tell him go up on the pole and fix the light.
The union's defiant stance comes on the heels of comments made by Executive Chairman of BEC, Leslie Miller. Miller blasted BEC workers for what he called excessive overtime payments, noting that some employees can make up to $100,000 in overtime on their base salary. Miller indicated that the excessive overtime is driving up the cost of electricity. However, Green accused Miller of not telling the whole story, noting that employees cannot work overtime unless they are authorized to do so.
Senior management of the corporation at the AGM, DGM, GM level is responsible, and the chairman level. They're responsible to authorize overtime. Nobody you see out here, including managers who are out here today, can authorize overtime. None of them. So if anybody is to work, they have to receive a call, and management has to say to them, I need you to work. The chairman is not saying that. He needs to say that. He needs to be honest with the Bahamian people and say, at his level, he authorizes it. At the GM's level, they authorize it. At the AGM's level, they authorize overtime. They are the people that authorize overtime.
Now, a new shift system is expected to come on stream on February 1st in an effort to reduce overtime. However, Green says BEC employees are not expected to comply.
The union in this hostile environment will not entertain any flexible shift. When we have a new executive management team that comes in and that is prepared to foster a harmonious relationship with the union, then we will sit down and we will discuss it reasonably. Until then, no.
Meantime, President of the NCTU is calling on the government to investigate the management here at BEC in order to promote good industrial relations moving forward.
I think the Prime Minister and the Minister of Labor and the Ministry of Works, who are directly responsible for this corporation, needs to deal with the chairman and the board of this corporation. And as I said, on that board, there are persons who claim that they're in the trade union movement, who should be advising the chairman of this board not to be saying the things and doing the things that he is doing. That is why they are put on those boards, to create industrial harmony. And it perturbs me that persons sit on that board who are trade unionists and are allowing these things to happen. Then we need to examine the board maybe and the removal of some of the members of the board.
Fern Carey, ZNS Network News.
Well, Bahamas Electricity Corporation Executive Chairman Leslie Miller responded to claims by President of the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union that only executive management can authorize overtime. In fact, Mr. Miller said in a telephone interview with ZNS News late this afternoon that that claim is false. BEC's chairman indicated that BEWU President Stefano Green is a supervisor who selects from a roster who can work overtime in his department. He compared this situation to the former Free National National Movement Administration's overtime dilemma with the Customs Department.
Now, while the Bahamas Electricity Corporation's chairman is hitting out at company employees who he believes have abused the system for overtime payouts, Prime Minister Perry Christie says first and foremost, the government has to address the high electricity costs and bring them down as promised in his party's Charter for Governance.
Now, the Prime Minister noted that the government has been presented with a number of proposals, and the hope is to make the company more productive and efficient going forward.
Part and parcel of the whole exercise is to look at how we can make the Bahamas Electricity Corporation a much more productive institution in our country, a cost-effective institution in our country. And the question you ask about huge payouts and overtime, clearly it makes more sense to hire additional people, to pay a preponderance of money to a few people as opposed to allocating more responsibilities and sharing more responsibilities through adding people to the staff would be one of the formula, well, a formula that we can look at.
Now, while it was rumored that the government was in discussions to sell or privatize the electricity company to the Grand Bahama-based power company Emera, Prime Minister Christie said that's not the case.
There's been no consideration on the part of my government to sell BEC. What I can say is that we have received a number of proposals, some of which are based on a private company meeting the cost of generating the electricity and BEC distributing the electricity. So in that sense, what they're saying is that it can become much more beneficial to the Bahamian public, to the commercial investor community in our country, if in fact we are able to effect efficiencies at the level of the generation of electricity. We have a number of very significant proposals, one or two of which are led by Bahamian-led companies, but all of them are either joint ventures or exclusively foreign companies that have indicated an experience in generating electricity in a very cost-effective manner in other places in the world. And so we are really trying to get this done as quickly as possible.
Turkish-Canadian resident Raif Gumas made one last push today to find out what happened to his nephew and cousin, Turkish nationals Hüseyin Özkan and Vesi Oral, before returning home Friday. The pair, along with another man, reportedly paid thousands of dollars to be smuggled to the United States via Grand Bahama, but never arrived.
Now, Gumas and another relative took their plight to the cabinet this morning, hoping to get a word in with Prime Minister Perry Christie, but that didn't exactly happen. Our Charisma Robinson tells us more about Mr. Christie's position on this matter.
Gumas's attempt to reach out to the Prime Minister today did not work exactly how he wanted it to, but he's somewhat satisfied that at least the Bahamas has heard his story.
I feel happy right now. Be honest, right now I'm so feel happy. The whole Bahamas know the story, and Minister he's been know the story. Right now I'm so feel happy. We gonna get them boy back, and we gonna save some people in life. I'm feeling happy right now.
It's been a very painful and agonizing year for the families of the men who were last seen on March 9, 2012, when they reportedly boarded a boat with 16 others and allegedly paid $6,000 each to be smuggled into the United States from Grand Bahama. Gumas hasn't heard from his nephew and cousin since. He believes, though, that his relatives are still alive and are reportedly being held captive for their kidneys. Gumas says he knows and has even spoken to some of the people he believes are reportedly involved in the smuggling operation.
You're lying on me, but I spoke to the police officer yesterday and I tell him everything what you're doing. You're lying on me. So please stop calling my phone. Could you do that for me, please?
Listen, I want to just...
Please stop calling my phone.
Okay.
Okay? You whatever you read you did, that on you. I didn't have nothing to do with that, so please.
You taken these people for kidney.
When you come to Nassau, whenever you come to Nassau tomorrow, the police will be here at the airport waiting on you.
Authorities Authorities have confirmed that vital information, including copies of telephone records and money transactions, are already in the hands of Grand Bahama and New Providence authorities. But Gumas and Turkish embassy officials are not satisfied that the government has taken the disappearances of the Turkish men seriously. Here's how Prime Minister Christie responded to that outside of cabinet this morning.
Anyone who comes to the Bahamas and, so to speak, is declared missing or not heard from drives us to action. We are obliged to take whatever action that we can to see if we are able to bring some kind of clarity and some kind of resolution to the matter. And so you can rest assured that that is exactly what we're doing. The great difficulty is that when people are in pursuance of illegal activities, we can't account for it. You know, it's an underground kind of effort being made, and it's very difficult in the circumstances for law enforcement officers. They have to just rebuild the path of these people to see if they could trace them to wherever they may be.
Now, Gomez says Turkish embassy officials have expressed shock over what appears to be a lack of communication from the Bahamas government on this issue. He remains optimistic, though, that the government would make some effort to bring some closure to this matter. Charisma Robinson, ZNS Network News.
It is time for your first look at weather. We have a band of clouds well to the north of us. It's heading this way. Could change our weather by the end of the week. But outside of our studios just now, we have a few clouds, temperatures 75 degrees, relative humidity at 74%. Your winds out of the east-northeast at 6 knots. Your barometric pressure 1,019.4 millibars. That's 30.10 inches, and it is steady. But stay tuned. We still have your Family Island temperatures, travel, and boating forecast.
Thanks, Basil. Well, there's still no word on whether or not clients of the defunct Clico will ever get any financial resolution to their matter after the company went belly up several years ago. It is a matter that Prime Minister Christie hopes the government will review again as clients continue to pay premiums.
This is a good time for us to reconnect with the liquidator to see what the present position is. When we met with him last, he was indicating a great difficulty in recovering funds, even to the point where he was talking about difficulties in paying himself as liquidator. So we have made a commitment to review this matter immediately, based on all of the representations we were hearing. And so again, it's a matter that I will say to you, come back to me in a short order. I'll be able to much more effectively discuss it.
Well, still to come, referendum day just days away, and the Prime Minister tells Bahamians to brace themselves for the outcome, whatever it may be.
And ZNS's pension fund is dwindling. Hear what the Minister of Finance revealed in the House of Assembly when the National Report continues.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.